We teach everybody at Fair and Farah that the only basis upon which they judge themselves is by the client's success, not your own. This firm has been built over the last 40 years on the trust of our clients, and we intend to keep earning that trust. That's the focus of everybody who works here at Fair and Farah, how they can benefit the client today. Farah and Farah, here for you, here for good.
It's Florida Daily TV, brought to you by FloridaDaily.com. For all your news on politics, business, and education, it's FloridaDaily.com. Now, here's your host, Ed Dean.
Welcome to another edition of Florida Daily TV, right here on FloridaDaily.com, brought to you by Farah and Farah.com. Your trial lawyer since 1979, lawyers you can trust. That's Farah and Farah.com. One of my favorites. It's over the holidays now, so let's get into it. Dominic Calabro, the man himself, all right? This is the man that governors go see them before they ask for permission to run. How do you like that one, Dominic? So anyway, it's almost like you're the Pope.
I love it.
Dominic, he is the CEO and president of Florida Tax Watch. Go to floridataxwatch.org. One of the best groups, been around for so many years. I love talking about the economy. I love talking about taxes. We have taken a massive hit with the economy. Years, Florida's always been focused on tourism. Now we're trying to play catch-up, which I think has been done under Governor Ron DeSantis, and now who's a U.S. Senator, now Governor Rick Scott, now Governor Ron DeSantis are bringing jobs back. On a scale of 1 to 10, you cover this at Florida Tax Watch. You are the eyes of the business community as well. On a scale of 1 to 10, how good are we doing bringing in companies into the state of Florida?
Ed, thank you. Again, as the eyes and ears of the taxpayers of Florida for over 4 decades now, Florida Tax Watch has helped shape those very policies. 2 CFOs, the current Chief Financial Officer, Jimmy Patronis, and his predecessor, have both said, Jeff Atwater, that Tax Watch is one of 3 important reasons why Florida has a AAA bond rating. By fiscal austerity, being fiscally responsible. I think these are the policies that, with our state local taxes being low, competitive, plus all the wonderful natural resources we have to offer, sun, sand, beautiful. We got to make sure we work on the infrastructure, that we're having people come to Florida at such a fast pace that we're almost can't even keep up.
Dominic, you have said, in fact, I think Fox Business called it, Miami is now being called the Wall Street of the South.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, what we're doing, we're seeing a lot of these companies move here. The one area that Tax Watch is very concerned about is that some of these high-tech companies are moving not to Florida, but to Texas. So we got to make sure that we're also addressing those concerns as well. But the number one thing is Florida's on a really good path because our Constitution is fiscally responsible. You have a watchdog like Florida Tax Watch, is the eyes and ears of the taxpayers. And it's really important. So we not only watch them, but we also recommend specific ways that the governor and legislature can be more responsible. So during COVID, we didn't sit back and just wait. We had a task force of the great minds across the state of Florida look at, hey, small business out there and individuals that own their tax dollars. We want to make sure that the governments, state and local governments, don't squeeze the taxpayer to death to make them pay, and thus put them out of business. So we had that task force. We had a task force that looked at how we could make government more efficient. Last but not least, Ed, as the economy is about to reset, we want to make sure that we don't have unnecessary lawsuits. So you've heard about the limited liability for COVID, in pandemics. Well, Tax Watch, doing something that's different, again, the eyes and ears of the taxpayers, and looking at building on our success of helping to reform the state's tort system and joint and several liability many years ago. We're not saying what's the economic benefit. It's enormous. There'll be tens of billions of dollars that small businesses that follow the CDC guidelines, that follow all the proper protocols for health and safety, can be assured that they're not going to be jacked around. They're not going to be unnecessarily litigated as long as they follow the safety protocols. So what that does is promote mutuality. It ensures that, hey, Sal's Pizzeria, Sal's not only going to make sure he gets more customers, but he ought to be sure that those customers are going to be treating him well and not looking to jack him up.
Dominic, when the governor came in a few months back, says, hey, we need to cut $1 billion. You guys came in and said, hey, governor, I think we can find $6 billion worth of cuts. Again, to shore up to make sure you're paying all the bills and things like that. Florida's a little bit different. COVID cases are not as bad as the rest of the country out there. In many of these ways, when you look at these stimulus packages being passed, it seems like I heard a clip one time. Somebody said it sounds like we're subsidizing people that want to endorse shutdowns and lockdowns out there. I am of the mind, I don't think we're going to see any more shutdowns. I know South Florida's still under somewhat of a little bit of a shutdown. They got certain restrictions. But overall, I don't think the governor's going to go along with this even temporarily for 2021. What are you guys seeing for the economy and for business owners?
I think really as we know that we've got the anecdote and we've got the vaccine out there. I mean, I think it's going to be a big sense of hope.
That was my next question.
And continuity. But, hey, listen, we're in the fourth inning of a big game, and you're into the last 3 to 4 minutes of the fourth inning. Let's not let up our guard. Let's make sure that we don't have an unnecessary spike and overwhelm our hospitals and healthcare facilities. But at the same time, let's not overreact. Let's just be prudent. Wear the mask. I'm not wearing it now because I'm in the office by myself. But wear a mask. Wash your hands. Be respectful of others. Treat others with thoughtfulness and respect and kindness, and that in turn will protect you as well.
Let me ask you this. I want to play for you a clip. One of my favorites is from the Fox Business Network, Dagan McDowell. And David's background, Dagan, his mind, you know me for years, was in the economics as an economics reporter. And you have been heavily involved, a lot of other publications, also at FloridaDaily.com. We've covered where a lot of these states more now, Illinois, maybe not so much business out of there. California, New York. I mean, they are making a haven. Let's exclude Texas. This is a bullet shot. They're coming down to Florida. And I want to play for you a clip of what she says, that when you create a tax environment that is not friendly, people move in these states. I want to play the clip because I want your take on this. Then what she says, then when you have fewer and or less people in your state, now you've got to tax them. You can't, and the more you try to tax them, you're still not bringing in enough because there's not enough people living in the state. Here's clip number 8. Listen to this right here.
And they can leave, and they're heading for Florida. And what happens, they're getting ready to raise taxes on the wealthy. But the tax base is leaving, so you keep hiking taxes on a smaller base of taxpayers. And eventually, you have no one left to tax.
There you go. You got no one like. She sounds like you, the female version of you. We are not even. We are seeing you guys. We covered this at Florida Daily. We talked about this on the radio show. You put out a report recently. It was just a report, non-biased, nonpartisan, which you are, about several of the municipalities. We're raising taxes for water conservation. We're raising very conservative counties. We're raising a sales tax. Or we're looking at a property tax for schools. We're going to see more of this on a local level, but we're not going to see anything as a tax increase or proposal. I know the Dems will do it. It ain't happening in the state of Florida, is it?
No, the chances of some of these major tax increases passing is close to zero, nada. Okay, particularly personal income tax. Florida's not going to have it, certainly as long as the laws exist as they do, the culture exists, and Florida Tax Watch is on the job. But we're seeing people moving to Florida. And so we're seeing particularly the residential real estate market is really growing because people want to come where they're treated fairly, and capital flows to where it's welcome, where it's not antagonistic, overtaxed, overregulated. So likewise, we want to have the right degree of regulations, the right degree of taxes, because you got to fund the core functions of government: early learning, public schools, education, the environment, transportation, all those things that make for a healthy and prosperous and really well-educated community.
You said something a few moments ago that, for example, we talked about this in one of our other previous shows, where Florida does very well when you look at American Legislative Exchange Council and other groups, look at a nonpartisan view of Florida, major thumbs up. They say, the pension's okay, but the liability protection, Florida could do much better on. You talked about that. This is going to be incremental. The trial lawyers will fight you all the way. Is there anything, this has been talked by those in the U.S. Senate, they want liability protection. In Florida, this is something we talked about, the billions of dollars that can be saved by businesses out there. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much is this a top priority for the economy coming up into 2021?
And I think the COVID liability insurance protection is going to be a very high priority because it's really and TaxWatch's analysis of it, looking at the economic benefits, just an econometric analysis, no hold bars back. We're just going to call it like we see it. It's going to add tens of billions of dollars of employment, jobs, wages, personal income, because Florida will rebound quicker. There'll be more mutuality between the customers and their small businesses.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Nonprofits, hospitals, churches, all kinds of nonprofit organizations as well. Florida will be the beacon for the nation, as it rightly should be. The Sunshine State will be the sunshining beacon across the nation. And TaxWatch is going to point out this is about not litigation reform, not tort reform. It's about economic recovery. Economic recovery.
Well, trial lawyers may differ with you on that, how you want to word it, Dominic. You know that. So I like what you're saying. But one of the things, before I get going, is, and this is, again, not to make this partisan, I like looking at this idea. I think we could always talk about whether or not does this bring insurance rates come down. I know we can save this conversation for another day very soon, but I can say this. This is going to be a big battle because both sides are going to be heavily lobbied not to go along with you. And by the way, there's other business groups aligned with you that think the same way. So this is really an uphill battle.
Well, it's not easy. If it were, it'd have been done before. But there's only one state that actually, to my knowledge, has actually had any form of COVID liability, and that's in Nevada, but it's only for the hospitality sector. We're looking to have this for everybody, all Floridians, all nonprofits, local governments, businesses, and the like. Again, we're not talking about protections against gross incompetence or gross negligence or anything of that nature. Just some of the smaller things that people can nitpick, but cost churches, businesses, nonprofit organizations tens of thousands of dollars just to defend the discovery phase and all the things. Yeah, they're going to lose in court, but what you're going to do is you're going to be paying attorneys unnecessarily. Look, let's put our time and attention to where it's really needed, not on frivolous lawsuits. So TaxWatch is going to assess the economic benefit, the economic recovery that Florida will sustain by passing this legislation. We hope it's one of the first things passed in the 2021 legislative session, and that Florida is a beacon for the rest of the country, as it so often is. We are a megatrend state. Florida deserves to be there, but the only reason why we deserve to be there is because we act. We think, and then we act, and we protect all the taxpayers, all the citizens of Florida, and our businesses that are doing good business.
As you can see by the graphics, he is the CEO and the president of Florida Tax Watch, floridataxwatch.org. Dominic, I always appreciate your friendship. We've got the #1 radio show in the state, Florida Daily, which is one of the biggest news publications in the state, and I'm glad you're able to make the time. It's amazing. I don't have to book you 4 months in advance like everybody else does. I don't know why. No, anyway. But
whatever you need. First of all, I want to thank all your audience. They are just wonderful people. They've got a great friend in you. You just call it like you see it. I love that. I think you're great. But also I want to wish all of your audience that, #1, they have a blessed Christmas, Hanukkah, and holiday season.
That's right.
And more importantly, let's have a healthier and happier 2020.
And a prosperous new year. Dominic Calabro, he is the CEO and president of Florida Tax Watch. That's floridataxwatch.org. Dominic, good to see you.
Take care, buddy.
Another edition of Florida Daily TV right here on FloridaDaily.com, brought to you by Farah and Farah.com. Your personal trial injury attorneys since 1979. Again, lawyers you can trust. That's Farah and Farah.com. We'll be back again on another edition of Florida Daily TV right here on FloridaDaily.com.
When we come to work in the morning, we don't think about all the money we've won against big tobacco, big pharma, or the insurance industry. That's in the past. Life faces forward, and so do we. It's been said, to live in the past is to die in the present. What really matters is what we can do for you and your family right now, right this second. So call us, Farah and Farah, here for you, here for good.